when do you remember the first time we met?
It'd probably be when you worked as a secretary for the mayor, call it 30, 35 years ago, when I was just a young guy and still on welfare.
And we were on the second floor.
Yeah, you were. I think it was under Lawlor at the time.
Exactly, yes. So I remember only that was a Friday afternoon. You had been denied some help down at the welfare office, and you came up to see me, or to see the mayor, but he wasn't there, and you were angry and frustrated, and you basically vented, and I listened, and I said, I'm sorry, I can't help you. And my memory tells me that you said, well, I'm just going to have to go and do something illegal and get a place for the night or something. And on Monday morning when I read the Nugget, there was an article in there saying that you had been arrested. So how did that happen?
Well, part of it was had to do with downstairs at the welfare office. So when I came up to you, I was venting, but I vented when I was down there. Like, I was really upset. They used to play games with me all the time. Like, you don't want to work, you don't want to do nothing, you just want us to support you, stuff like that. And what I told you before about what that one social worker told me I'd better off dead, with clothes, they didn't believe in me. And when I came up to complain to you, try to get to the mayor, but I could tell right away that you were sympathetic, you understood, I could see it in your eyes, and that's why I treated you with respect, because you treated me with respect. You didn't look at me as like, oh, here comes another bum trying to get his check and he's not getting it. You didn't treat me that way. So that's from that moment on, I knew that you were somebody that was one of the good ones. Like, there was a few people back then that believed in me, but not enough at the time.
Right. And then what happened when you left the office?
I got arrested. Ran out the front door. They were waiting on each side of the door for me. So, like, I had my place for the night. Yeah. It's like, you don't think at the time when you do stuff like that, but nobody believed in me. Like, I always worked. Like, even back then, I was like under the table, shoveling driveways, cutting grass, whatever I could do to make a buck. I wasn't a lazy guy. I wanted an opportunity, for somebody to give me a chance.
Right.
And nobody ever did. Like, there was a few that tried. And I was still, drinking back then and being stupid, and I let a lot of people down. I really did. I disappointed a lot of people with my actions and what I did. But when you're young, you don't think about stuff like that. What you're thinking about is trying to fit in. You want to be accepted by everybody, and you get with the wrong crowd, you do the stupid things. I don't blame them for what I've done. I made the decisions. Like, nobody put a gun to my head and told me to go do these things. Like, nothing violent, just stupid stuff, petty stuff.
So when you got in front of a judge, what happened to you after they arrested you?
Well, they sent me for a pre-sentence report, and if I remember correctly, I got 30 days in jail and a year's probation.
Right.
But while I was on probation, I continued to sneak out past curfew and stuff like that. I get caught, and so breach of probation and another 30 days. And,
really?
Over the course of about 5-10 years, I probably spent about between 6 and 9 months in jail, in the North Bay jail here.
So what turned you around?
Well, after my mom died in '92, it was about a week after that I said, I can't do this no more. I'm going to be in the grave too. She was young when she died, and alcohol played a significant role in that. So it made me think, I got to stop this. So right after that, within 2 weeks, I stopped drinking, stopped smoking pot, stopped doing everything, and I was clean and sober for almost 20 years. But during that time, I was still on welfare at the time, and that's when I told my worker that I was going to volunteer at Leisure World to do 2 weeks. I said, I believe if I had because I told the workers at Leisure World, they said, this is a great idea. I said, let me work for you for 2 weeks. If you like what I do, maybe you got a job for me. If not, keep me in mind. So I worked every day for 2 weeks, and that was it. My worker at welfare said, we don't support this. You need to be out actively looking for work every day. I said, well, I believe I could get a job out of this. They didn't believe it. They cut me off. I went and did it anyway. I had to rely on my dad to help me at the time, to feed me, and I got the job after 2 weeks, a union job. They said, really? Guys like you don't get union jobs. That's what my worker told me.
Yeah, I remember that time because my dad was living at.
I remember your dad at Leisure World. Yes, I remember.
Yeah, and you were so kind to me when I went to see my dad every day at noon when he was near the end, and he was getting violent and unhappy and angry because he was in pain all the time.
Yeah.
And I just remember coming out of his room one morning and in tears because it reminded me of my past and how there was violence in my home. And you came up and put your arms around me and hugged me, and I thought how kind you were. And you said, I'll keep an eye on him.
Yeah.
And then when he passed away, you and your partner Tony came to the funeral, and I was really impressed by that.
Well, you know, like I said, like I remember you from way before that, and I knew you were a kind person. And when you hurt, it made me feel bad, you know, because
Really?
somebody I care about is in pain, you know.
Yeah.
I've always had this outlook on life, and just nobody ever gave me a chance, you know what I mean? And then when I got the job at the nursing home, that was a great job. It was a great career, you know, and I had 14 years there.
Really?
And they treated me with respect, and that's why I went to work every day. I never missed a day. You know, I showed up all the time happy and eager to work.
Right.
Because somebody believed in me, and then that proved the point, and that just set the whole thing off for me to keep going the way I am now. And now I'm here at Churchill's.
How did that happen?
I was living across the street on Thelma with my son. I was in public housing. He was about 17 at the time. And my friend Mike Squire worked here in the kitchen, and they needed one of their dishwashers quit just like out of nowhere. So they asked me if I'd come over and fill in for one night. I've never worked dishes in my life. That's the last. This job is usually an entry-level job for kids.
Yeah.
This is my final job before I retire. I got it reversed.
How long have you been here now?
10 years now. And like, they don't make me, but I work every day.
Right.
And I've never missed a day, never been late. I took 2 days off when my dad died. That was it.
Oh, your dad's passed away?
Yeah, in 2018.
Oh, okay.
But like, they were so nice. They all came to the funeral, flowers, support, you know. It just reiterates that there are good people in this world.
How about your relationship with Jimmy Kolios?
He's a great man. Like, you know, he's done a lot for me. Like, I've got implants in my mouth. Like that's a lot of money, you know, and my teeth were bad. I couldn't afford dental. The first year I was here, he did that, you know, and I didn't ask for it, but he goes, no, we want to help you. And when they did that made me just say, hey man, these guys are awesome people, and I gave them 100% of me. And now, like, I give them 110%. I love this place like it's my own restaurant.
Really?
Yeah, I'm all over this building. I'm on the roof, I'm under the building, got my hands in everything here.
So you're far more than a kitchen worker.
Yeah, I do dishes, but I do a lot of things. I fix things on the fly. I go and whatever they need. I'm a yes man. That's what I do now.
Sounds like he depends on you for a lot.
Well, and you know, and it humbles me. It really does, because it's nice to be needed. You know, when people show respect because you're doing something for them, and they appreciate it, it just makes you feel good. You know, people say, no, Wayne, you're getting praised all the time. Your head's swelling. No, it's not my head. It's my heart.
Yeah.
You know?
So what would you say to somebody that was in the situation you were in when you were a young kid, and they're on the street today, or they're having trouble?
Well, first thing I'd probably say is not give up. You know, you got to find somebody that believes in you, but first you got to believe in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, nobody's going to believe in you.
I remember one of the previous police chiefs telling me that you were a manipulator. And
I think I know which one that is. Yeah, back in the day, I wasn't a manipulator. I was just trying to steer things in my own direction.
He has a charm about him. I said, he's a good person. He's charming. He kind of considered that to be your way of manipulating people, but you are charming.
Well, I'm not trying to manipulate anybody. I like people. I'm an extrovert. The more people around me, the better I feel, you know. Like, I come here because they're like family to me. The staff.
Right.
I know most of the customers that come here now, they all know me by name, and I'm just a regular fixture here now. And
right. I remember when we moved up to the 5th floor, and both Stan Lawlor and Jack Burrows were mayors that I worked for. You would drop into the office periodically just to tell me how well your life was going.
Well, I figured, you know, you probably want to know because you've seen the worst. Like, you've seen when I was at my lowest.
Right, and I've seen you progress through your life to now, and I've seen how well adjusted you are and how happy you are. And that's because a lot of people believed in you over the years.
Over the years, it took a lot to get to that level, you know what I mean? Like, it took a lot of I guess, soul searching on my part to like, do I want to continue this lifestyle of always having to look over my shoulder, or you know, not being able to keep a job? You know, like, I'm 5 years away from retirement. You know, I'm going to finish out my 10-year here, and hopefully still have energy to keep going after that and do something else. But
you mentioned one day about a judge that was good to you. Who was
Judge
that?
LaBelle. Like, he the first time I stood in front of him, years later, he comes here once in a while, and we talked about it. He goes, I saw the fear in your eyes. He goes, I don't think I've ever seen that in any other defender. They had no sense of real fear. I feared the system. I got caught up in it because of my own stupidity. But he I think he believed in me. He knew that I wasn't a bad guy. He said it on numerous occasions.
Good.
And that's what, you know, I stood in front of him quite a few times, but a couple times he had to put me in jail for 30 days, but most of the time he gave me probation, and you know, my probation officers, they all knew that I wasn't doing anything, so I only had to report once in a while because they knew I was trying to change my life, and they showed some compassion.
Yes.
And when people do that, that makes you want to be better, right? You don't want to sit there and people that you care about, pardon my French, trying to F with them, you know what I mean? Like, you don't want to screw with nobody when they're being good to you.
Yeah.
You know, like,
right.
Not even if somebody's bad, I wouldn't screw with them, but it's just, it takes a lifetime to undo some of the things you did when you were young, you know?
How has that affected your relationship with your son?
Right now, we're not, like, I raised him by myself for 20 years. His mother left when he was young. And, you know, my son has Asperger's and ADHD and everything else that ends in D. It was a lot. He was a high needs child, and I gave up my career at Leisure World. They didn't want me to leave, but I said, I got nobody to watch my son, and I have to be there for him. So I gave up I probably would have still been there by now, like almost 30-something years, but it was an easy decision. You know,
Sometimes things like that work out because look how happy you are here.
Well, yeah, I knew that things would happen, and once my son got older, I always planned on getting back to work, but I was forced onto the system again to raise my son, which because I couldn't go to work.
Right.
Because if I was at work, I'd get called every single day.
Really?
You know, like when I was working at the nursing home, I was also the caretaker of St. Andrew's United Church for 5 years at the same time.
I remember that.
Yeah, I was there for 5 years under contract, and so then I was working 7 days a week too, so it's like...
Yeah.
But everybody was nice to me, you know, so like I'm gonna give 100%.
You weren't lazy.
Never was, just stupid at times. Not stupid, just naive when I was younger. If I knew then what I know now, I'd probably be very rich and have a nice home and
We
all.
could all say that.
But it's not about the money either, you know, like I'm taken care of here really well. They take good care of me financially and everything else, and I got a 2-bedroom that, you know, is reasonable rent, you know, like I never get that in the community, but Jimmy and, you know, they taking care of me.
So you have a relationship with his family?
I know everybody, Tracy, the kids, you know, and the kids come in and, you know, give me hugs and, you know, stuff like that. They're like a secondary family to me.
That's not necessarily the reputation that Jimmy Kolios has in North Bay. A lot of people look at him as if he's, I don't know, he, like, aside from the restaurant, it's all the development and all the buying up stuff, but he seems to be turning those buildings into places for people to live.
He's doing the right thing, and people don't understand. Sure, he's well-off man. You know, he's worked hard for his money, you know, and I understand that now. And stuff he's done for me, it's not just me. He does that for other people like me, like that have been in situations. He gives people jobs that probably wouldn't be able to get a job in the community, and raise them up and show them they're worth something. And that's when you develop like great people, you know, like give them a chance and they'll prove it. Well, all you gotta do is give somebody a chance.
I do remember the first time I met him was when he first came to Canada, and I was working in the Clerk's department. Mm-hmm. And he came to the counter and wanted a marriage license. And that was 40-some years ago.
Wow.
So that's how long I've known of him, and he's certainly become an exceptionally successful person in the city, a high profile.
Well, he does a lot for this community, you know, like seniors are a lot of places going up across the city that he's got his hand in.
Right. And
it's all for seniors, which is great, you know, like he's filling the niche that's needed in this community.
Right.
Affordable housing for people.
Exactly. Yeah.
So sure, he's getting, getting rich off of it, but he's helping a lot of people, and there's been people that he's helped, and they just taken advantage of him.
He made a comment about that when I was here a couple of weeks ago, and he said that a lot of people he's helped have turned on him, and you never have.
Well,
why would you?
Right. Like you got to be stupid. Somebody's treating you good, and you have everything you could ever want in this world. Why would you bite the hand? Like, proverbial bite the hand that feeds you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I'm not a stupid guy. And I'm able to hold my head up. I earn my money. I work for my money. I'm not getting it handed to me.
I think you've earned pretty much the whole life you're living now. You're happy.
I'm very happy, I'm getting tired and I'm old, but I love
you're
it.
Not old.
Well,
you're looking
almost,
at old here.
Well, it's just how you feel, right?
Yes.
I don't feel old. I got more energy than some of the young staff around here, and keep them on their toes. But whatever they need here, I do. I'm a yes man. That's what I do. Right. All I needed in this world was a hand up, not a handout.
Right. Well, it would be nice if more people who were troubled in their youth got the same treatment that you've received over the years.
I hope that too. I wish that for a lot of people, but the key thing is you reach out for help. You got to be willing to admit you need help. You got to admit to wanting to change.
Right.
Because if you don't do any of that, it's not going to work.
Exactly.
You got to be 100%, because if you don't believe in yourself, nobody's going to believe in you.
Right.
And I had a reputation in the past, and that's gone now. Anywhere I go in town, everybody knows me. They know I'm a decent guy. I try to be.
Yeah.
And I'll help anybody, anytime, anywhere, as long as they don't screw with me.
Right.
Other than that, if somebody's doing that, I just avoid them. I don't have that problem anymore. You're not worth my time if you're going to be negative,
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great interview. It's good stuff.
Oh, right on.
Are you all other questions?
Gosh, I haven't even looked at my list of questions.
The one thing I was thinking when I was listening to you talk is a little bit about your youth and why you ended up the way you were at the time that you met Nancy.
Yeah, I came from a troubled background, like my family. Alcoholism destroyed the family on my parents. There was a lot of violence in the home. At the time in the 60s and 70s, you thought that was just normal. Everybody had their thing and nobody got the police involved, Had to, like today, you just push some woman in and the cops are there, everybody's there, rightfully so.
You would have tried to hide that from people, I would think.
At the time, but not because my dad's gone now, my parents are gone, but it's just, how do you say that? Like, witnessing that stuff, a lot of the time when people witness that stuff, they tend to repeat it. Yeah. I got 4 brothers and none of them do. They've never touched a woman, they're not drunk, they all work, so you learn from it.
Yeah.
Either history's doomed to repeat itself or you move on.
You either do the opposite or you want to do better.
Yeah, I got no violence in me at all, man. I'm not a violent man, never was. I like to have fun and make people laugh and still a little partying once in a while. I go shoot pool downtown and do some karaoke and stuff like that. It's much more subdued than it was back in the day, I'll tell you.
But I know that what you go through when you're a child and you're an adolescent can really stay with you for your lifetime.
But at the same time, my dad, when we were kids, he had to raise 6 kids and a wife, so there was 8 of us in the house on a trucker's salary, which wasn't much back then.
Right.
So he'd be out every day shoveling driveways, shoveling roofs, doing whatever he could, and he always supported for the family. That's where I got my work ethic from.
So how long did you live at home before you went out on your own?
I moved out, I got kicked out when I was 16.
Kicked out?
Because I got kicked out of high school on my birthday, November 30th. I walked into high school and the principal, Mr. Goodhue, and the guidance counselor were waiting at my locker. Happy birthday, you're 16 today, Wayne. I said, well, what's up? Thank you. You got 5 minutes to get out of the school. I was just a young guy, you're in school and I was bullied a lot, so I didn't want to be there. You're poor and people treat you different and get your head kicked in for nothing just because you're different than everybody else.
Right.
I'm glad those days are over.
And how about Dylan, or what's his name? Damon.
Yeah, unfortunately, over the last couple of years, we're not speaking right now. I still love my son. No,
Exactly.
always.
Exactly.
Like, that'll always be there. It breaks my heart that we're estranged like this. I'm a grandfather now, and I don't even know my granddaughter's name. But in time, that'll come around.
You bet.
Yeah. It's like, given the situation, my son lives a half a block from me. My ex-wife lives the other half a block the other way. I'm smack in the middle of my ex-wife and my son, who I really don't talk to right now. So
That'll change.
it will. I'm sure it will.
He will someday realize what a father you were, what a good father
All
you
I
were.
want to, I would have loved if he would have listened to me in life, have him working alongside me here. I brought one of my friends in to help me out here, got him a job. I'd much rather would have had my son, father and son working together.
Yeah.
I could have taught him so much about work ethic and what you need to do to get ahead. So it's almost like I'm trying to raise me. When he was
Is he
young,
so much like you?
in a lot of ways, he's very high strung and he doesn't wait. He explodes without reason. I have ADHD. I know I've never been diagnosed, but back when we were kids, they called it hyperactivism.
You're right.
But back then we had recess and stuff like that, no video games, so we went out and played, right?
Right.
Got rid of your energy the proper way. Kids can't do that today. They're attached to their phones and, so. But yeah, I would have loved to give my son a chance to excel at a young age, because he's the age I was when I decided to clean up my act. He's 27 now.
Okay.
And I was that age when my mom died.
I remember when he was born.
Yeah, it was. I still remember the 9:02 in the morning. I still remember when he was at the hospital when he was born, and my dad was on the other side of the delivery room, and I held Damon up for the first time to the window, and I was so nervous I almost shoved his face right into the glass. I held him up, and he was about that far from the glass. My dad was scared, and it was a lot of mixed emotions. I'm a father now. I really have to stay, the course and be good for this little fella here, and.
Yeah.
But the relationship I was in was very, very toxic.
Right.
It was bad, and that's where I would spend a lot of my time in and out of jail again because of
Yes, I remember.
situations with the ex, and
Yeah.
But that's all water under the bridge now.
It
I got
is.
no time to dwell on the past.
No.
Just full steam ahead. That's
Yeah.
it till my last day.
I think you've done really well. I'm really proud of being a friend of yours.
And I'm glad to be a friend of yours too, you and your daughter, and said that we have some memories, and I'll always cherish those. I still remember you sitting behind the desk at the mayor's office, and I come in, I think I was already talking before I even got into the office.
Talking loud, and it didn't matter who was around.
Yeah.
It could be anybody there. You just came in with whatever today was bringing
And that
you.
was the frustration and ADHD coming at you.
Yeah. You're much calmer now.
Yeah, there's nothing to get worked up about anymore. I know what I'm doing. Like, I know what's coming every day.
Yeah.
Consistency is a great thing. It really is.
Yeah, no, routine is good too. Yeah.
Well, it is. It helps you to know what's coming, and if you got no surprises, then
And what are you doing over at the place where you live? Are you part of Jimmy's
Well, in the winter
staff?
time, I take care of the driveway, like the walk. I shovel the walks and salt, make sure that it's all bare for the seniors, and if anything happens in the building, I'm there and I can notify the proper people that need to come and deal with whatever happens.
So you're more or less a property manager.
No, not really. No, I'm just a tenant living there, but I'm an extra pair of eyes.
Okay.
They gave me a nice place, and I valued the place, and the seniors that live there, I get along with everybody. They don't even know I'm there. I'm quiet as a mouse.
Right.
Back in the day, I got kicked out of apartments because I was too loud. The music and...
Yeah. Even your voice was loud before.
Well, it still is. When I get hyped up, I get in the kitchen, I talk loud because there's a lot of noise going on.
Okay.
And I carry on into the bar, so they have to come out every now and then
Tell
and
you
say,
to quiet down.
Talk a little lower. That's fine.
That's been your nature to speak loudly.
Yeah, I don't need a microphone. I never did.
Well, I've been so happy to interview you and go back over our past relationship, and I consider you a good friend, and thank you. Thank you.
No, I thank you. You've been kind to me, and you and your daughter, and I have a soft spot in my heart for you guys, like your family.
Thank you.
I've known you long enough to call you family, so
That's great.
yeah, I do care about you and your daughter, and
That's Peggy.
yes,
Yeah. Okay, thanks. Is that good?
That is very good. Maybe if I could just get you to sit closer, I'll be able to take a picture of yourself.
You're getting showing my bad side.
That's okay. I got
Lots of
this is
stitches.
all bad. That's okay.
You can move a little closer. There we go. That's very good. And I'm just going to take a screen grab from the video, so I don't even have to do anything here.
Okay.